ready?
Hey.
You ready? Yes, ma'am.
Set me up.
Yeah, hey y'all, hey!
What's up?
We are here. Y'all heard the announcer. This is Back to Basic Eyes of Faith broadcast with Pastor James E. Sturdivant, and we are here. We here. Yes, we are here. We are excited. We are excited to be here. Church Talk Radio. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having us. We are excited to be here every Wednesday at 3 o'clock p.m. We are here live coming to you from the fine studios of Faith United Ministries. And we are excited to have the opportunity to be on another week, another day to just share some basic principles, some basic teachings to you all coming from a scriptural foundation that can help you as far as life choices. And we hear Pastor Sturdivant. He is the host of this awesome broadcast, but because of his ministry, because of his gift, because of his anointing, he is not only just a local pastor and preacher, but he is an international. He's an international preacher, so he goes across the world, across the waters.
He's internationally known on the microphone.
Internationally known on the microphone. Yeah, y'all don't know about that church talk. So he is known on the microphone across the world right now in Lagos, Nigeria. That's where he is. He's preparing to come back very soon, so you all will see him live on next week. But we're here. We are his co-host, and we're here holding it down. Right here on the left of me, I have stuffthebest.net, .org, .com, .edu. You know, all the dots, the box of dots. And she currently, normally Church Talk and YouTube Live, she'll have her box of dots with her, but from what I understand, she ate them. She needed to feed her flesh. She needs to feed her flesh. Yeah. She needs some sugar, so she ate the box of dots. So if you would have sold it to her life, and bless her with another box. That way we can have it for the next broadcast. You all can do that. Send it to Faith United Ministry, 7905 Ferdinand Lane, District Heights, Maryland. And I am Janice. I'm Janice Sturdivant. Pastor would say, Josiah, woo! He would say that. Woo! Your whole shoulders, everything was shaking when you did that. He would call me that. And I am Janice, and we're here. We're going to hold it down. We're here. We're glad to be here. This is your second scoop of the double scoop Wednesday, and this is your midday, break teaching that we're going to give to you. Steph, greet the people.
Hey, Church Talk.
Is that singing?
YouTube. It's like a chant almost. Like, when I was around the Nigerians.
Oh, were you?
On this past weekend.
Got you.
For a little bit. I noticed they do a lot of it's almost like screaming / singing / talking all at the same time.
Sure.
And that's
what does it sound like?
Hey, Church Talk! And then they can be like, hey, Steph the Best! It's like a call and response type of thing.
Gotcha.
So I just felt the response in my spirit.
You felt international just for a moment just now.
Yeah, but anyway, it's the second dose. I'm excited. And please, please, please tell somebody to tune in, to listen in, to, go on to Church Talk website. Even if they can't do it right now, I know they can go back and listen to it if they don't have access to listening to Church Talk. Tell them to go onto YouTube. It's not that hard, but we need to make sure this word is getting spread, it's getting shared, and it's not just for those same ones listening every week that know about it. And also, after you hear it, make sure you act on it, because a lot of times we're so focused on, you know, like doing what's routine until it becomes routine and you're not necessarily getting anything from it. And I don't want that to be how this broadcast works. I want it to always be basic teaching. I want you to always get something. I want you to always feel inspired and to feel lifted up after listening to this broadcast. And I'm excited to be a part and to have some type of ministry somewhere.
I think it's good. One of the things that we have brought up a few weeks ago is it's good that we have those who support and tune in every week and listen and share it. We thank you all so much. But it's also another thing when you actually apply or, you know, practice what is being taught. And a lot of times when we are just living, we are hearing stuff and we're receiving, but we're not applying. And that's why we kind of find ourselves being in the same place at the same time every day, every month, every year, because you can be in church for 25 years, hearing a good word, you know, getting good teaching, but not applying. And so you're still in that same place spiritually, emotionally, mentally. So it's always good to hear it, and we thank you for your support with hearing and sharing it, but make sure it's something that you apply. Even as we're teaching stuff that also helps us. Because it's no age requirement for the teaching, it's no gender, you know, expectation. It's for everybody. So we ask you to share it, not just on your timeline, share it with your family, your loved ones. It's one thing when I'm getting help, but it's another thing if I can apply and share that help with those that I'm connected to. Because if I'm going up and bettering and growing in some areas and you connected to me, I don't want to be all the way up here and you still back here. So it's good to have those that's connected to you to also receive the same thing, especially if you say that you love them. So that is a good segue. But before we get into our teaching, because we have something good that we want to talk about, we do want to just kind of share some of the things that Pastor Sturdivant is doing. We do this every week, not to waste time, not to become repetitive, but we do it because, as we stated earlier, it's good to take time to support those who you are connected to, especially if I tap into your business or your dream and I'm connected to you. I want to be able to support you. And Pastor Sturdivant, he's not just a pastor, he's not just a preacher, he's also a teacher. Every Monday, he does a conference call at 8 o'clock p.m. and it's only for an hour where he does just some teaching with a select group of people. Some of these people are in church, some of these people are not in church. And he does this every Monday, and it's a thing where he gives them just some special insights, stuff that's not really shared on Sunday mornings, things that's not really shared on Wednesdays during the broadcast on midweek teaching, but this is special things that God had placed in his spirit that he shares with the elite group. It's called the Mosaic Gathering, and they gather every Monday on a conference call, and then once a year he does like a workshop where he brings everybody together. But that's something that he does, and if you want to know more information about that, I'm going to tell you how you can get that from his website. But then he's also an author. He's an author, and he has written 6 books. Church Talk, I'm holding the books up. YouTube Live, you can see I'm holding the books up. He's written 6 books. You should already know these books by heart at this point. And these books have been a blessing. We've had the books go all over the world. Literally, he takes them everywhere he goes, and people are blessed by them. People call the ministry, and they're wanting to get the books because the books are timeless. These books, even though he's written some of these books 2-3 years ago, 10 years ago for No Longer Crippled, he revised this book, No Longer Crippled, from trauma to triumph. And I read the revision of the book, and when I tell you this book is literally timeless, because some of the things that he's talking about as far as what cripple us and how we allow certain things to cripple us is some of the stuff that we're still dealing with this day and time. Even though we may have gotten over it before, sometimes we find ourselves kind of going back into those things, whether it's crippled in our mindset and the way that we think. It's a lot of things that cripple us. So this book is one of the books that I think will be a blessing to you, because it definitely it tells you how you can come from what was meant to be a bad situation and become victorious and triumph over it. And then what's this book, Steph?
Encouragement in small doses is exactly what it is. Encouragement in small doses. When you feel like you need encouragement a little bit at a time, pick this book up. You don't got to read it front to back. I know I say that every week because it's necessary. Like sometimes you just need a little bit to pick you up from where you are. I know Wednesdays, we call it hump day because it's the middle of the week and you know, you only have 2 more days left, you know, at work after today, but this could be like your hump day every day. It helps you get up, get through your day, and it gives you something, to focus on.
Then we got the devotions. We got Impacting Your World, Daily Confessions, and then we also have a Divine Hunger. And these are 2 devotions that I think will bless you. Sometimes you just need something. You don't want to read the Bible, or you read the Bible and you feel like it wasn't enough. So you need just a little encouragement, a little devotion that gives you a scripture. It gives you a prayer point. And then it also gives you space to write what you have heard from God, from what you have read, or whatever prophecy that was declared as a result of reading. These devotions definitely help. This one, A Divine Hunger, is a 40-day devotion. And this one is just a confession, because you don't realize that the words that you say, they do have power. And they can either create or cremate your world with what you're saying. So this tells you how to watch what you say. Think before you talk. So you want to get these books. Daily Confessions for Impacting Your World, and A Divine Hunger.
Hearing and knowing the voice of God. Pastor talks about this book a lot, and so do I, actually, because I've read this one 3 times. It is necessary to know who you're listening to, if it's yourself, if it's God, or if it's the enemy. And sometimes we get them confused because we haven't spent enough time getting to know those voices. So this kind of helps you go in the right direction on how you get to know those voices.
And last but not least, thank y'all so much for y'all patience. Learning to Soar, Life Lessons for Facing Life Challenges. One of the books that I really appreciated, because this definitely helped me, because this really do provide lessons when you're facing challenges. And I know growing up, everybody, we all have our different challenges, whether it's in relationships, challenges as it relates to budgeting, or financially stability, challenges as it relates to balancing the world with spiritual expectations. We face a lot of challenges with our children, with our parents. It's a lot of life challenges, and this book, Learn to Soar, helps you to understand and know how to live a victorious life. You want to get this book. All the books that we have named, they're on Pastor Sturdivant's website, along with the information that we shared earlier as it relates to the Mosaic Gathering. And it's those things that we believe will be a blessing to you, outside of just the sermons that he has preached, not only in his ministry and some of the other ministries. You can do that by checking his website. You can get updates as far as events and things that Pastor Sturdivant is doing and is a part of. And his website information is www.jesturdivantministries.com. Again, his website, www.jesturdivantministries.com. A lot of people put ministry, and it's ministries.com. And when you go on that website, you'll see, as soon as you click on it, you'll see him on the homepage, and you'll see the links where you can go to get his books. You can see the link as it relates to the Mosaic Gathering. You can see the link, because now he has it where you can do a 30-day devotion. And it's your 30-day grace that you receive if you sign up for it. It's just an email that you get for 30 days, and it gives you that encouragement from Pastor Sturdivant. You click on the books, you will see Pastor Sturdivant talking about each book. And it's just events and stuff that Pastor Sturdivant is a part of. So we do encourage you all to go on his website, and you'll be able to stay updated with Pastor, stay in the loop of what he's doing and what he has going on. And just real briefly before we continue in the teaching, if you want Pastor Sturdivant to be a part of your next event, your conference, your workshop, your seminar, whatever you have going on, church anniversary, pastor anniversary, whatever you have going on, you want Pastor Sturdivant to be a part of that. Or if you want to become a sponsor and be connected to Pastor Sturdivant. One is if you want Pastor Sturdivant to be a part of what you have going on. And then if you want to connect and be a sponsor and partner with Pastor Sturdivant and his J.E. Sturdivant Ministries, because you see what he has going on, and you see the impact that it's having, and you see the effects and the following that he has, and you want to connect with that and want him to announce your next event or the next big thing you have going on, you can become a partner and sponsor, and or you can have him be a part of your next thing by contacting me, Janice Sturdivant, and I can be reached at 301-736-2383. 301-736-2383. Hey, 301-736-2383. That number would call and ask to speak to me, Janice Sturdivant, and I can either have Pastor Sturdivant be a part of what you're doing or give it the information for you to connect with Pastor Sturdivant. Or if you want to sow a seed because you want to tap into this awesome ministry and you want to say, hey, Pastor, thank you for being who you are as far as being accessible, for always praying for me and my family, for being supportive. I want to thank you. You can do that by either calling the phone number that I just gave you and sending something that way, or you can Cash App him. Cash App is the new thing that's been around here as far as financial transactions. You don't even have to go to the bank no more. You don't gotta drive nowhere. All you do is just pick up your phone and send a donation. And you can do that. His Cash App handle is the $ capital D, lowercase r, capital J, capital E, capital S. If you want to sow a seed, you can do that via Cash App. The sign is capital D, lowercase r, capital J, capital E, capital S. And you will be a blessing to his ministry. All right, we want to get into this. Because over the past couple of weeks, we've been doing this since February. That's when we kind of started as it relates to this love thing. And we've been talking about love. And because love is also timeless from the perspective of it never gets old. It never goes out of style. Love will always be current. Even when you come on the scene and leave the scene, love will still be here. And love is one of those things that you never can really get old or get over talking about because it is a part of the world. And even when you come from a spiritual perspective, God is love. You know, if we call ourselves Christians, we are God's children. And so we will always have or know about love because that's who God is. God is love. So past couple of weeks we've been talking about the depth of your love and how deep does your love go. And we kind of shared on how people, learn love based off of what they see love to be or what they know love to be. And you know love to be based off of what you are exposed to or what you are shown. And we gave the analogy not to reteach because we want to kind of go into some things different, but just to kind of, let this be the foundation. We gave the analogy of how love changes based off of what you're exposed to love. Even when you think about it from childhood, to growing up in your childhood, elementary stage, when you were outside during playtime, and if a boy would tap you and then go run or go pick up some dirt and throw it at you, that was your way of thinking like, oh, he likes me. Like, he showed me some attention. He didn't tap you. He tapped me. He likes me. Oh, my God. That was your perspective of love. And then when you got into middle school, it kind of elevated from a boy tapping you to then a boy touching the person in front of you. Hey, get her. And then y'all passing a note to the person, passing a note all the way to the front of the class. And then the note says, do you like me? Check yes, check no, maybe. And then, that was that way in middle school of love. And then when you got to high school, it kind of graduated from, the boy tapping you to the boy passing you a note to then the boy walking you down the hall, and carrying your books down the hall and then taking you to your class and driving, if you was driving in high school, driving to pick you up. And that was your high school love. And then from college, then that graduated to, the guy picking you up from your parents' house and meeting the parents and, getting you home at a certain time, taking you out to a nice restaurant, buying you food. And then that was another level of love. So each phase of love taught you a different, perspective of love. So love is kind of based off of how you view love, what you were shown, what you saw, what was the example that was placed before you. I do got to shout out, even for those who are watching us on YouTube, thank y'all so much. We don't know if you're on there unless you either send a comment or something like that. So if that's the case, send us a comment, let us know that you're there so we can shout you out. Let me shout out Miss Lisa Chu. Miss Lisa Chu is the one that makes it happen for us to be here. talking to you all with Church Talk Radio. She saw a vision. She saw something with Pastor a year ago, and she said, "Look, I want to support. Here's what I want you to do. I want your voice to be heard. You have something powerful that you're saying, and I want people in this New York area, this Canada, all this area to, hear you." And she has made it happen for a year now. She's like, you know what, no worries about anything. And that's the blessed part, because a lot of people say they're going to support you, but then they want something in return. And she has just been a blessing, for a year now. And we about to go do something within the next couple of weeks, as far as taking a show and doing it live in Church Talk Radio studios. We'll be doing that soon. But shout out to Miss Lisa Chu, and then shout out to Lady Michelle, who is holding it down on the other side. We missed you last week, but we definitely appreciate you. And for Church Talk Radio, if you want to see us, you hear us every week, but if you want to see us, you can go on YouTube Live as well. If you go to Pastor Sturdivant's page, www.JESturdivantMinistries.com, and scroll all the way down on that home page, you'll see the link that says YouTube Church Talk Radio. You click on that link and you can watch us live right now. I promise you that you will be a blessing as well. And then we can also share this video after we are done. So your level of love is based off of what you know and what you're taught. Do you want to say something before we get into it?
Sure. I was just listening to you, and it was making me think, we've been saying that as far as the levels and how, like, when you were young and when you was growing up. But, time actually plays a big part in that.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, I highly doubt kids are passing notes. They're probably sending text message. They're sliding into each other's DMs.
Yeah, they slide through DMs.
It's completely different. So it kind of makes the love different, because it's more like what you see, what you can get, and not really what you feel. Because back then, when it was us throwing dirt at each other or us passing notes, we didn't communicate as much because we didn't have the internet. We didn't have the text messaging and all of that. So that plays a major part. And I was just thinking about that.
Yeah. Well, as the world evolves, so does the way that we do things change. And even when you think about it, because the world is now so technology driven, that it doesn't even require some of the things. I mean, I remember when I was younger and I had a crush on somebody. I didn't have a phone, so I literally had to go talk to them in person. So that nervousness of having to get yourself together to say the right words that you want to say, and then go in front and see that person face to face and say, "Hey, would you be interested in going studying?"
Yeah.
We would study. That's what we did back in the day. You're interested in going studying together. And that took a lot. But that was communication on a whole other level, because you wasn't hiding behind a screen.
Right.
You wasn't hiding behind a phone. You wasn't using emojis. You would see the emotions and the expressions right then and there. Nowadays we have emojis that kind of give the what we're trying to express as far as our facial expressions, but that's not the same thing. But when you talk to somebody in person, that's a whole nother level. And you're right, we don't even have that no more. We were talking about this earlier today, as far as how certain standards have changed in the world as it relates to how we interact with people, with relationships. And it's not that it's a good thing or a bad thing, because it's just changed, but it's just amazing how, these changes can play a major part. I mean, even when you think about it, if we talk about it from a relationship perspective, and we're going to get into the love thing, this is all the foundation of it. When you think about it, when we were growing up, in our family house, the Sturdivant's household, we had 2 telephones in the house. You had one phone in the kitchen, and then Pastor had a phone in his study. And that one phone in the kitchen, that phone was the phone that everybody used. So when the phone rang, everybody could hear it. And when you answer the phone, everybody can hear the conversation. It wasn't no thing as it relates to you going to your own room and you can have your own conversation on your bed. But it was a thing as it relates to you being able to have a conversation, not be secretive, and your whole family heard what you was talking about, who you was talking about. They knew who your friend was because you would say the name, where y'all was going, the time, and all those things. And we did that. And I'm a sidebar. Can I see your phone real quick? Just because I'm gonna put Facebook on because somehow they're not seeing us on YouTube. But we had did this thing in the house growing up, and when we had did this thing in the house growing up, where everybody heard your whole conversation, it brought about a couple of lessons. One, you couldn't be private or secretive because you didn't even have the option to. You had to share, the same phone with everybody. And nowadays, everybody have a cell phone at like 10 years old, 11 years old. And because you have your own phone, you have your own privacy. And then it's like, okay, well, who are you doing it with and all of that? And I brought that about because when we was growing up in the Sturdivant's household, it was a thing where if somebody was interested in taking you out, they had to get the permission from your parents. They had to get the permission, and then if they were going to pick you up, they had to get permission and ask your parents, was it okay if I took Janice out to go somewhere? Nowadays, because technology have changed that, it's a thing where you don't even need permission. You just go into the DM and then you start sharing what you like or dislike about the person, and then y'all sneaking and having dates and stuff, and the parents don't even know who you're talking to. Mm-hmm. That's how times have changed, even as it relates to love and relationships. And even though the world has changed so much so as far as how we view relationships and how we interact in relationships, your level of love is still based off of what you see and what you know. And sorry y'all, I'm trying to think about it. We having technical difficulties, Church Talk, because we just found out that they're not seeing us live on YouTube. We just received that. Thank you, Ms. Lisa Chu, for sharing that. Somehow they're not able to see us on YouTube live, so we're now having to transition, and we're just going to try to do this on Facebook if we can. And while I do that, Steph, can you talk about how we view love and how it has changed with time?
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, as far as how we as the millennials, I feel it's less of an emotion and more of something to do.
Right. It's entertainment.
It's exactly, entertainment. It occupies our time. It allows us to go out without feeling like, we're hoes or, we're players and we sleep around. Like, we can talk to one person, but all that talking is not in person. Yeah. If that makes sense. We talk via text messaging, we talk via direct messaging, or whatever the case may be, and it's not personable anymore, and it's because it doesn't have to be, and that's what the other generations below us are seeing. So with that being said, when I talk to 10-year-olds and they say, yeah, I have a boyfriend, and yeah, I'm talking to this girl at my school, and I'm like, how? Mm-hmm. Oh, because I have a cell phone, and it's just like, oh, really? And that's another thing that is different, because I didn't have that when I was younger.
I didn't have a cell phone until I was 16.
I think I was 17, and it's just kind of like we're promoting certain things, which is okay, but we have to be mindful and monitor what we're promoting to the younger generations, because it is taking away from the other things that were instilled in us when we didn't have those type of devices, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it has an effect on it, and it's crazy because even as it relates to, like, my parents, they are celebrating 40 years next month, as far as being married to each other, and people are like, wow, really? And they are amazed because 40 years married, that's not even heard of this day and time. We're in relationships and out of relationships earlier than 40 days. We don't even put 40 minutes into relationships these days. And it's crazy because love is supposed to be long suffering. When you say I do to somebody, or when you say I love you, that love is supposed to be like Christ as far as unconditional. And we don't have that these days and times. And so when we say we love somebody, I mean, nowadays I hear young people, they say they love you and they just met you 5 minutes ago. And we say that. But if you were to give something stuff as it relates to how your love has changed from where you were or how you was growing up to now, like talk to them from a millennial perspective, because how we view love is not how the generations before us view love, one. And then your love has changed the older that you have gotten. Whereas, 5 years ago, the way you loved is not how you love now. Like, what was your personal process?
I feel like my grandmother pretty much was the first real like love that I can remember. Even though like my mom was definitely a part of my life, but because my grandmother was there in an age where I could understand and then give something back, it meant a little bit more. And she loved me unconditionally. I there's no doubt in my mind, and because I experienced that genuine type of love, the love that wasn't about gifts, it wasn't about having the finest things and going to the best restaurants. It was country love. Right? We didn't have a lot, but I knew I had everything I needed because of how she treated me. And with that being said, coming from that and then being brought into a more city type of environment where people were always out for something in return, it made me experience that type of love where I thought it was the love like I would first had experienced. But then all of a sudden it was like, well, if I'm not giving you this and you feel like I'm not doing this in return, then your love changes. And I never experienced a love to change. Like it was a consistent, constant love. And now this love is based off of what I can do for you. So it kind of made me change how I genuinely could love somebody. Even if I didn't want nothing in return, it made me look like, okay, well, what can I get from them before I love them the way that I can love them? And that's not how it's supposed to be. And it's actually kind of sad because I feel like the way I love went up and then down. It was like a roller coaster, up and down, until I finally realized how Pastor has taught us in the Word. It says you have to love in a certain type of order. And when you don't love in that order, it creates confusion, it creates dysfunction, and everything that we've been talking about before, like in the earlier broadcasts or in the other broadcasts for Church Talk, it makes a difference. When you don't love in that order, it's nothing but dysfunction, unfortunately.
Right. So loving is important, and we gotta put just a brief commercial because we're having to adjust. So we're back on Facebook just today only, because somehow YouTube is not connecting. And we're trying to get it where you all can